Oakhaven was a town steeped in secrets. Shadows stretched long across its history. The townsfolk knew the stories. They whispered them in hushed tones. One house stood apart, shrouded in an unsettling quiet. It was a grand old house on the edge of town. It had seen generations come and go. They called it the Humming House. A low, persistent hum emanated from within its walls at night. It was a sound that resonated deep within the listener. It was a sound that chilled them to the bone. Some said it was the wind whistling through the eaves. Others believed it was the spirits of the house's past occupants. The tales surrounding the house were numerous and chilling. Stories of disappearances, stories of unexplained phenomena. Children were warned never to go near it. Adults crossed the street to avoid its looming presence. The Humming House stood as a testament to the town's unspoken fears. It was a place where darkness seemed to linger, a place where the veil between worlds felt thin. The house waited patiently for its next inhabitant. It hummed its silent song, a siren's call to the unwary. The whispers of Oakhaven continued, weaving a tapestry of fear around the Humming House. Mia was a newcomer to Oakhaven. She was an artist seeking inspiration. She was drawn to the unusual, the mysterious. The Humming House, with its eerie reputation, intrigued her. She dismissed the town's whispers as mere superstition. She saw the house as a canvas for her imagination. Mia was a woman of independent spirit. She was not easily swayed by fear. She had faced challenges before. She had overcome them. The house's ominous aura didn't deter her. It beckoned her closer. She saw beauty in its decay, potential in its silence. She purchased the house for a surprisingly low price. The previous owners were eager to be rid of it. They offered no explanation for their haste. Mia didn't ask. She was too captivated by the house's strange allure. She was blind to the warnings whispered in the wind. Mia began to unpack, settling into her new home. She felt a strange sense of belonging, despite the house's unsettling atmosphere. She was eager to explore its secrets. She was ready to face whatever lay hidden within its walls. She was unaware of the darkness that awaited her. The first night was quiet, too quiet. Mia found herself listening for the sound the townsfolk had described. She sat by the fireplace, a book open in her lap but unread. The stillness of the house was unnerving. Then it began. A low, resonant hum vibrated through the floorboards. It seemed to emanate from the very foundations of the house. Mia closed her eyes, trying to identify the source. It was a deep, rhythmic sound, like a giant heart beating beneath the house. The hum grew louder, filling the room. It resonated within Mia's chest. It made her teeth ache. She felt a prickling sensation on her skin. The air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. She opened her eyes, scanning the room for any visible source of the sound. There was nothing. The hum continued, unwavering. It seemed to wrap around her, pulling her into its embrace. Mia felt a growing sense of unease. The silence of the house had been unsettling. The humming was far worse. It was a sound that spoke of secrets, of something ancient and unknown. The following days were filled with an unsettling quiet. The humming only returned at night. Mia began to investigate. She explored every room, every nook and cranny of the house. She found nothing to explain the strange sound. She checked the electrical wiring. She examined the plumbing. She even climbed into the attic, searching for a hidden generator or some other mechanical device. There was nothing. The house was old, but well maintained. There was no logical explanation for the humming. As the nights passed, the humming grew more intense. Mia's sleep became fragmented, filled with unsettling dreams. She felt a constant sense of being watched, of being surrounded by unseen eyes. Shadows danced in the corners of her vision. Whispers seemed to echo through the empty halls. She began to question her initial dismissal of the town's stories. Could there be more to the Humming House than met the eye? Was it truly haunted, as the townsfolk claimed? Mia's skepticism began to waver. She was trapped in a house of whispers and shadows with a growing sense of dread. Section 5. The Cellar's Secret. Driven by a growing sense of unease, Mia decided to explore the basement. It was a dark, damp space filled with the musty smell of decay. Cobwebs hung like ghostly shrouds, and the air was heavy with a sense of forgotten things. The humming seemed to be strongest here, resonating through the stone walls. She found a heavy wooden door in the far corner, secured with a rusty padlock. The wood was warped and aged, as if it had been there for centuries. Mia felt a pull towards it, a sense that the answer to the humming lay behind that door. With some effort, she managed to break the lock. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow descending staircase. The air that wafted up from the darkness below was cold and damp, carrying with it the faint scent of earth and something else, something indefinable and unsettling. Mia hesitated, a flicker of fear momentarily holding her back. But the humming beckoned her forward, promising answers to the mysteries of the house. She took a deep breath and started down the stairs, into the unknown depths below. Section 6. The Tunnel's Terror. The staircase led to a narrow tunnel carved into the earth. The air was thick with the smell of damp earth and something else, something metallic and sickening. The humming was louder here, a pulsating drone that vibrated through the very ground beneath her feet. As Mia ventured deeper into the tunnel, she noticed strange markings on the walls. They were crude symbols etched into the stone, unlike anything she had ever seen. They seemed to writhe and shift in the flickering light of her lantern, as if alive. The tunnel opened into a small chamber. In the center of the chamber was a pit, its depths shrouded in darkness. The humming emanated from the pit, a deep, resonant thrumming that seemed to vibrate through Mia's very bones. As she peered into the darkness, she saw something move. A pale, skeletal hand reached up from the pit, its bony fingers grasping at the air. Then another hand and another, followed by a grotesque, emaciated face, its eyes burning with an unholy light. A chorus of whispers rose from the pit, a cacophony of voices speaking in a language Mia couldn't understand, but that filled her with a primal terror. Section 7. Flight from the Humming House. Mia stumbled back, her heart pounding in her chest. She turned and fled, scrambling back through the tunnel. The horrific image of the creature in the pit seared into her mind. The humming pursued her, a relentless mocking sound that seemed to echo the whispers of the damned. She burst out of the basement door, slamming it shut behind her. She didn't stop running until she was out of the house, the cold night air stinging her lungs. She didn't look back, didn't dare to see if the horrors of the pit were following her. She ran until she reached the town, her cries for help echoing through the quiet streets. The townsfolk emerged from their homes, their faces etched with fear and suspicion. They had heard her screams, had felt the tremor that had shaken the ground when she had opened the basement door. They listened to her story with a mixture of horror and grim satisfaction. They had warned her, they said, but she had not listened. Now she had unleashed something terrible upon their town. They looked at her with a mixture of pity and fear, as if she were already tainted by the darkness of the humming house. Section 8. Oakhaven's whispers continue. The townsfolk refused to go near the house. They boarded up the doors and windows, sealing it shut once more. The humming continued, a constant reminder of the horrors that lay within. The whispers of Oakhaven grew louder, fueled by Mia's terrifying experience. They spoke of the pit, of the creatures that dwelled within it. They spoke of the ancient evil that had been unleashed upon their town. They spoke of Mia, the outsider who had dared to disturb the slumbering darkness. Mia left Oakhaven, forever scarred by her experience. She never spoke of the humming house again, but the memory of the pit, the whispers, and the humming haunted her dreams. She carried the burden of her experience, a silent testament to the horrors she had witnessed. Section 9. The house remains. The humming house remained empty, a dark monument to the town's fear. The humming persisted, a constant low drone that permeated the night. The townsfolk avoided it, crossing the street to avoid its ominous presence. The house stood silent, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to be drawn to its mysterious allure, waiting to unleash its horrors once more. The whispers continued, weaving a tapestry of fear around the house, ensuring that its dark legacy would never be forgotten. Section 10. A new plea. One night, a new sound joined the humming. a faint, desperate cry as if someone were trapped within the depths of the house. It was a sound that echoed Mia's terror, a sound that pleaded for help. The townsfolk heard it, but they turned away, their fear outweighing their compassion. The cry continued, a chilling reminder of the horrors that lay hidden within the walls of the humming house. It was a plea that would go unanswered, a testament to the darkness that held Oakhaven captive. The humming and the crying became the town's new nightmare, a symphony of fear that echoed through the night.